Page 178. Textual grammar. The Swami and Mother worship. Tense 1. I caught the glimpses of this part of the Swami's life. Change into present perfect. Answer B. I have caught the glimpses of this part of the Swami's life. 2. I have always felt that there were two elements in his consciousness. Identify the sequence of tense. Answer C. Present perfect plus past indefinite. 3. I have always felt that there were two elements in his consciousness. Change into simple present tense. Answer A. I always feel that there are two elements in his consciousness. 4. The religious ideas towards which he naturally gravitated were highly abstract and philosophical. Rewrite using the simple present form of the verb. Answer D. The religious ideas towards which he naturally gravitates are highly abstract and philosophical. 5. At 8, he had developed the power of entering samadhi. Change into simple past. Answer B. At 8, he developed the power of entering samadhi. 6. He became a formal member of the Sadharan Brahmo Samaj. Change into past perfect tense. C. He had become a formal member of the Sadharan Brahmo Samaj. 7. In England and America, he was never known to preach anything that depended on a special form. Rewrite using simple present tense. Answer C. In England and America, he is never known to preach anything that depends on a special form. 8. The realization of Brahman was his only imperative. Change into simple present tense. D. The realization of Brahman is his only imperative. 9. He was constantly preoccupied with her. Change into past perfect. C. He had been constantly preoccupied with her. 10. It is also true that in India the word mother was forever on his lips. What is the sequence of tense here? A. Simple present plus simple past. Page 179, question 11. He wanted few words on me when I came to him with my difficulties about animal sacrifices in the temple. Rewrite in simple present form. C. He wastes, wastes, few words on me when I come to him with my difficulties about animal sacrifice in the temple. 12. He told me, however, that he had never tolerated the blood offering. Rewrite in the present tense. D. He tells me, however, that he has never tolerated the blood offering. 13. God manifests through evil as well as through good. This is an example of B. Simple present tense. 14. Step by step, glimpse after glimpse, I began to comprehend a little. This is an example of A. Simple past tense. 15. Another day he was going with me to visit the old Maharshi Devendranath Tagore. This is an example of C, past continuous tense. 16. He realized the infinitely greater boldness and truth of the teaching that God manifests through evil as well as through good. Write in simple present tense. B. He realizes the infinitely greater boldness and truth of the teaching that God manifests through evil as well as through good. 17. I was able to understand as much as I did of our Master's life and thought. Rewrite in simple present tense. C. I am able to understand as much as I do of our Master's life and thought. 18. The story of the glimpses which I dash of this part of the Swami's life would be singularly incomplete if it contained no mention of his worship of the Mother. Choose the appropriate form of the verb to fill in the gap. C. Caught. Voice. Change the voice. 19. In England and America, he was never known to preach anything that depended on a special form. A. In England and America, people never knew him to preach anything that depended on a special form. 20. I wrote and published The Voice of the Mother. C. The Voice of the Mother was written and published by me. 21. I worship the terrible. D. The terrible is worshipped by me. 22. Let us worship the terror for its own sake. B. Let the terror be worshipped for its own sake by me. 23. Ramakrishna Paramahansa dedicated me to her. A. I was dedicated to her by Ramakrishna Paramahansa. 24. I saw his marvelous purity. D. His marvelous purity was seen by me. Page 180. 25. I felt his wonderful love. A. His wonderful love was felt by me. 26. He did not understand that. A. That was not understood by him. Indirect speech. Change the mode of narration. 27. Within quote, I worship the terrible, mark of exclamation. He was continually saying. Answer A. He was continuously saying that he worshipped the terrible. 28. I suddenly said, quotation, perhaps, Swamiji, Kali is the vision of Shiva. Is she? Shiva, mark of exclamation. Is she? Question mark, unquote. A. I suddenly asked Swamiji if Kali is the vision of Shiva. 29. Swamiji said, quote, it is a mistake to hold that with all men, pleasure is the motive. Stop, unquote. Answer B. Swamiji said that it is a mistake to hold that with all men, pleasure is the motive. Phrasal verbs. 20. Fill in the blank with the appropriate form of a phrasal verb. 30. Guru Nanak was like that, dash, the one disciple to whom he would give his power. Answer C. Looking for. 31. Every now and then he would dash with some new fragment of description. Answer D. Break out. Prepositions. Choose the appropriate preposition to fill in the blank. 32. He was constantly preoccupied dash her. B. With. 33. We are reminded dash the Swami's own words. Answer A. Of. 34. The impersonal God seen dash the miss of sense is personal. B. Through. 35. Both conceptions could not be equally true dash the same time. A. At. 36. He is one who carried for another a trust confided dash him. C. 2. 37. I was myself to be responsible dash this. D. 4. 38. In England and America, he was never known to preach anything that depended dash a special form. C. On. 39. Dash. A certain solemn occasion he entrusted to a disciple a prayer to her. A. On. 40. Quite as many are born to seek dash pain. D. After. 41. He had a wholehearted contempt dash what he regarded as squeamishness or mawkishness. B. 4. 42. He made no reference as he might have done dash the fact. A. 2. 43. The underlying egoism of worship that is devoted dash the kind God. Answer C. 2. 44. It was an opportunity she made a slave dash me. C. Of. Clause. Identify the clause. 45. He was the only man who ever had the courage to say, underlined, that we must speak to all men in their own language. Answer A. Relative clause. 46. As I look more and more closely into the life of that great teacher, underlined clauses, whom I have followed, I see each day with growing clearness how he himself was turning the pages of the book. Answer C. Adverbial clause. 47. As I look more and more closely into the life of that great teacher, underlined starts, whom I have followed, underlined clauses, I see each day with growing clearness how he himself was turning the pages of the book of experience. Answer B. Relative clause. 48. This was simple devil worship and he had no place for it. Answer B. Coordinating clauses. Page 181. Participle. 49. And as he spoke, the underlying egoism of worship that is devoted to the kind God, to providence, the consulting divinity. Identify the present participles as used here. B. Underlying consoling. 50. Dash. Up this train of thought, therefore he dropped into a mood of half soliloquy, Fill in the blank with the participle. C. Following. Gerund. 51. One realized the infinitely greater boldness and truth of the dash that God manifests through evil as well as through good. Fill in the blanks with gerund. A. Teaching. 52. He had never tolerated the blood offering commonly made to the demons who attend on Kali. Identify the gerund used here. C. Blood offering. Transformation of sentences. 53. Undoubtedly he was born a Brahmagyani. Make it negative. A. There is no doubt about the fact that he was born a Brahmagyani. 54. The religious ideas towards which he naturally gravitated were highly abstract and philosophical. Make it simple. B. He naturally gravitated towards highly abstract and philosophical religious ideas. 55. When he was only 8 years old, sitting at his play, he had developed the power of entering samadhi. Turn into a simple sentence. D. At only 8, sitting at his play, he had developed the power of entering samadhi. 56. The realization of Brahman was his only imperative. Make it negative. His imperative was nothing but the realization of Brahman. 57. Sometimes he would be naughty and rebellious. Make it negative. A. He would not be always naughty and rebellious. 58. Never did he attribute to any other the good or evil that befell. Turn into an interrogative / affirmative sentence. A. Did he ever attribute to any other the good and evil that befell? 59. Every now and then he would break out with some new fragment of description. Make it complex. B. Every now and then he would break out with some fragment of description which was new. 60. He had never tolerated the blood offering commonly made to the demons who attend on Kali. Make it affirmative. A. Had he ever tolerated the blood offering commonly made to the demons who attend Kali? 61. His own effort being constantly to banish fear and weakness from his own consciousness, he learnt to recognize the mother. Turn into a complex sentence. A. As his own constant effort was to banish fear and weakness from his own consciousness, he learnt to recognize the mother. Page 182. Question 62. This was simple devil worship and he had no place for it. Make it simple. C. This being simple devil worship, he had no place for it. 63. Religions are only languages and we must speak to a man in his own language. Turn into a complex sentence. A. We must speak to a man in his own language because religions are only languages. 64. Ramakrishna Paramahansa was the only man who taught that. Turn into a negative or interrogative sentence. A. Was Ramakrishna Paramahansa not the only man who taught that? 65. He was evidently afraid of my intellectual difficulty. Use the adjective form of evidently. B. It was evident that he was afraid of my intellectual difficulty. 66. Both conceptions could not be equally true at the same time. Make it affirmative or interrogative. B. Could both conceptions be equally true at the same time? Question mark. 67. Who does not remember the Veda-like words of the Gita? Turn into an affirmative sentence. A. Everybody remembers the Veda-like words of the Gita. 68. Can a man rise to this inaction by avoiding action? Question mark. Turn into a negative sentence. B. A man cannot rise to this inaction by avoiding action. Amarnath. Tense. Choose the appropriate verb form to fill in the blank. 1. It was in the course of an open-air meal in the Mughal gardens at Achabal that the Swami suddenly that he would go to Amarnath with the pilgrims. B. Announced. 2. Kashmir in those weeks to be full of pilgrims. A. Seemed. SWMED. 3. We left Achabal and to our boats at Islamabad for final arrangements. C. Returned. 4. The tent of the Tehsildar with that of the Swami on one side and my own on the other near some advantageous spot. C. was placed. 5. The Swami's influence to be magnetic. B. appeared. 6. The same otherworldliness that made Swadesh and Videsh indistinguishable also these simple souls from formally conceiving of a unity. A. prevented. Page 183. 7. The soil of the Punjab, they argued, with the blood of those who had died for the faith. D. was drenched. 8. It the scenery of Switzerland or Norway at their gentlest and loveliest. A. was. 9. Amarnath remarkable for its simplicity and closeness to nature. A. is. 10. I can well imagine how this cave first A. was, discovered. 11. Many officers and servants of the pilgrimage Musulmans. B. had been. 12. The purity and whiteness of the ice pillar and enwrapped him. B. had startled. Voice, change the voice. 13. The more learned of them swarmed about him at every halting place. D. At every halting place he was swarmed about by the more learned of them. 14. Many of them could not understand the warmth of his love and sympathy for Mohammedanism. B. The warmth of his love and sympathy for Mohammedanism could not be understood by many of them. 15. The otherworldliness made Swadesh and Videsh indistinguishable. C. Swadesh and Videsh were made indistinguishable by the otherworldliness. 16. The soil of the Punjab was drenched with the blood of those who had died for the faith. A. The blood of those who had died for the faith drenched the soil of the Punjab. 17. The Swami made those practical concessions of the moment. C. Those practical concessions of the moment were made by the Swami. 18. He told the tale of his warm discussions. B. The tale of his warm discussions was told by him. 19. This cave was first discovered. C. Someone discovered this cave first. 20. The purity and whiteness of the ice pillar had startled and enwrapped him. B. He had been startled and enwrapped by the purity and whiteness of the ice pillar. 21. The Swami had observed every rite of the pilgrimage. B. Every rite of the pilgrimage had been observed by the Swami. Page 184. 22. He cherished the memory of how he had entered a mountain cave. C. The memory of how he had entered a mountain cave was cherished by him. Indirect speech 23. Then he said dreamily, quote, I can well imagine how this cave was first discovered, stop, unquote. Change the mode of narration. B. Then he said dreamily that he could well imagine how that cave had been first discovered. Phrasal verbs 24. The Swami's influence dash to be magnetic. Choose the appropriate form of the phrasal verb. B. Turned out. Prepositions. Choose the appropriate preposition to fill in the blank. 25. A broad street would run dash the middle of one part of the camp. A. Through. 26. He had insisted occasionally dash drawing their attention to the world about them. D. On. 27. The soil of the Punjab, they argued, was drenched with the blood of those who had died dash the faith. C. 4. 28. The servants had to wander many miles in search dash this scanty fuel. A. Off. 29. The more learned of them swarmed about him at every halting place, filling his tent and remaining absorbed dash conversation. B. In. Clause 30. The soil of the Punjab, they argued, was drenched with the blood of those, underlined starts, who had died for the faith, underlined closes. Here the underlined part is a B. Adjective relative clause. 31. We left Achabal and underlined starts, returned to our boats at Islamabad, underlined closes for final arrangements. Here the underlined part is a B. Coordinating clause. Participle 32. We left Achabal and returned to our boats at Islamabad for final arrangements. Rewrite using present participle. A. Leaving Achabal, we returned to our boats at Islamabad for final arrangements. 33. 2,000 or 3,000 people would encamp in a field and leave it before dawn, with no trace of their occupation. Rewrite using participle. A. Encamping in a field, 2,000 or 3,000 people would leave it before dawn, with no trace of their occupation. Question 34. They carried a bazaar with them, and at each halting place the pitching of tents and opening of shops took place with incredible rapidity. Identify the present participle. B. Halting. Gerund. 35. Within our little party there was too much feeling of delighted congratulation. Find out the gerund. C. Feeling. 36. They carried a bazaar with them, and at each halting place the pitching of tents and opening of shops took place with incredible rapidity. Identify the gerunds in the sentence. C. Pitching, opening. 37. The tent of the Tehsildar with that of the Swami on one side and my own on the other was generally placed near some advantageous spot for the lighting of the evening fire. Find out the gerund. C. Lighting. Page 185. Transformation of sentences. 38. It was in the course of an open-air meal in the Mughal gardens at Achabal that the Swami suddenly announced that he would go to Amarnath with the pilgrims. Change into a simple sentence. In the course of an open-air meal in the Mughal gardens at Achabal, the Swami suddenly announced his plan to go to Amarnath with the pilgrims. 39. Preparations went forward for this unique experience. Turn into a complex sentence. A. Preparations went forward for this experience, which was unique. 40. We left Achabal and returned to our boats at Islamabad for final arrangements. Make it simple. A. Leaving Achabal, we returned to our boats at Islamabad for final arrangements. 41. 2,000 or 3,000 people would encamp in a field and leave it before dawn with no trace of their occupation. Turn into a simple sentence. A. Encamping in a field, 2,000 or 3,000 people would leave it before dawn with no trace of their occupation. 42. They had remonstrated with him seriously. Use the adjective form of seriously. B. They had remonstrated with him in a serious manner. 43. Why make such distinctions between Swadesh and Videsh? Turn into a negative sentence. A. Do not make such distinctions between Swadesh and Videsh. 44. Even foreigners, they urged, were men. Turn into a negative sentence. A. Even foreigners were, they argued, no other than men. 45. The Swami's influence appeared to be magnetic. Rewrite by using the noun form of the main verb. A. The appearance of Swami's influence was magnetic. 46. The Swami's influence appeared to be magnetic. Turn into a complex sentence. C. It was the influence of Swami that appeared to be magnetic. 47. That Tehsildar came afterwards, indeed with a group of friends, begging formal acceptance by the Swami as disciples. Turn into a compound sentence. B. That Tehsildar came afterwards, indeed with a group of friends, and begged formal acceptance by the Swami as disciples. 48. Leaving Islamabad, we caught up somewhere with the pilgrimage. Turn into a complex sentence. C. As we left Islamabad, we caught up somewhere with the pilgrimage. Page 186. 49. Amarnath is remarkable for its simplicity and closeness to nature. Make it complex. A. Amarnath is remarkable because it is simple and close to nature. Text continued in next file.